PURPA stands for the Public Utility Regulatory Policies Act of 1978. It was enacted by Congress largely in response to the Arab oil embargo in 1973, which had very significant effects on the economy at the time. The increases in the prices of crude oil had severe effects on the overall economy, on the prices of natural gas and oil, and Congress attempted to address that problem by trying to reduce the nation's reliance on imported oil sources through the enactment of several legislative measures, of which PURPA was one. It's aimed at encouraging the use of alternative generation technologies for electric generation, including cogeneration, which is the combined use of steam for industrial processes and electric production, as well as various types of small hydroelectric, biomass, wind, solar, and other types of alternative fuels that were designed to wean the nation off its reliance on imported oil. The primary goal, as I mentioned, was to encourage the use of alternative electric generation technologies and thereby reduce the nation's reliance on imported oil, which at that time, a large part of electric generation, especially on the East Coast, was reliant on imported oil. So the primary goal was to reduce the nation's reliance on foreign oil. But a secondary purpose, as it turns out, was also to increase the number of participants in the electric generation sector by providing various types of economic incentives aimed at encouraging entry into that particular activity and thereby increase competition in electric generation. And the hope and thought was that by increasing competition, that would diversify the use of various types of fuels and also open up an industry which to that point in time was primarily one that was occupied by monopoly franchised companies. So bringing in new competition was an important part of PURPA as well. I'd say they were. Certainly in the years subsequent to the enactment of PURPA and the implementing regulations by the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, a number of new entrants into the electric generation sector appeared on the scene, and in many parts of the country wound up providing significant amounts of electric energy to the grid, and led to the reduction in the use of foreign oil. In addition, with respect to the goal Congress had of trying to encourage competition, to be sure, in many parts of the country, competition, which up to that point really had not existed, flourished. And indeed, PURPA can be seen as the starting point for a transformation of the electric utility industry from one that was pretty much franchise monopolies to one in which, in many parts of the country today, relies on competitive markets for the provision of generation, especially energy, capacity, and ancillary services. I think PURPA is still relevant today in at least two ways. One is that it continues to be an important factor in the evolution of the electric utility industry because many solar and wind developers still rely on certification as a PURPA qualifying resource in order to take advantage of the economic incentives that were offered by the statute when it was adopted in 1978. So it is still an important part of the economics for many renewable energy resources. The second reason is that even though it's been on the books for 35 years, the Act continues to be interpreted and applied by both the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission and the courts in ways that had not been dealt with before. So the Act itself continues to evolve, and it's, I think, still an important factor for both developers and electric utilities to know about, especially with the growth in the use of renewables.